are in fact in existence. They are very much there, but Windows doesn't have a clue as to what they actually are. So just go ahead and close this. As you would do with your normal machine, with your physical machine, let's just restart. And now in the restart process, once the Windows goes down, we will switch to Red Hat. So press F12 to select the boot device. You will have something similar on your machine. I don't know, it depends from which machine. I have a Dell, so for Dell it's F12. Uh, there are some other machines like it's F2, somewhere it's actually the delete button. It will be written on the screen as soon as you turn the machine on, that first black screen, so don't worry about it, just have a look at it, and it's gonna say like this is for BIOS, this is for boot options. Select the one, press the key for boot options, and you will get something similar to this. So either you will choose with an up and down arrow and then press enter, or you will have numbers and letters like I have here. So I'm just gonna say boot from hard disk 2. And there you go. I have Red Hat here standing by. I also have Ubuntu down here, but disregard that, please. Uh, been messing around with Windows and been trying to dual boot it on a single partition. Have encountered a lot of problems and didn't want to burden you with it. That's why it actually sees the Ubuntu here. But in any case, disregard that. You will not see that upon when you install it. Rather, instead, you will only see these two options that I am switching in between. Now, select the first one, press enter, and very shortly, Red Hat will actually boot. So you will have dual boot set up, working, no problems. As far as I could find on the forums and in consultation with a lot of people on the net who know a great deal about this, and after reviewing a lot of forum posts, as I've said before, I've actually opted for this method to physically separate Windows and Linux disks, and then you just select the boot options at machine startup. Safest way to go about things without actually messing up anything. So anyway, accept the license agreement, done, finish configuration, and it's gonna boot any moment now. Come on. No, I would like to register at a later time because I don't want to register twice. I've already registered on a different machine. So it's booting into. This is the first boot, so keep that in mind. Excellent, there we go. Let's just log in. I'm not going to bother installing VirtualBox guest editions here, primarily because there's no need to do so, as we're not actually going to be using this machine. This is only a demonstration of the procedure itself. Oh, come on, anytime now. Just want to show it to you as proof. There you go. So it did indeed boot. You now have the working environment, the graphical user interface here, and it works no problems. Then if you want to switch back to Windows, just reboot the machine, press the key on your keyboard that is appropriate to your computer brand, and select the hard drive from which you wish to boot. So one hard drive will be for Windows and another one will be for Red Hat. Very simple procedure, not too complex, and the only thing that you could possibly mess around with, the only possible thing that you could do that would cause you damage is to actually select the wrong drive during the partitioning part of the installation and delete the Windows partition. So just be careful with that and all should go well. In any case, I would like to cut the tutorial here, and in the next one we will actually start using Red Hat, and I will introduce you to the graphical user interface, not only of Red Hat but GNOME. GNOME is the general graphical user interface for Linux distributions, and then we'll move on slowly into the command line. Anyway, until then, I bid you all farewell. Welcome everybody to this tutorial. Today I'm just gonna go ahead and enter Red Hat. We're not gonna do any more installations or anything of a kind. Today we're jumping in, but we're easing it in slowly. First, gonna show you the graphical user interface, and then we will move on to the terminal. I first want to show you where is what approximately. Before I do all of that, I have made some alterations to the Red Hat virtual machine. I have just assigned it more resources, and you can do the same by clicking on the settings and then going to system, and you have the motherboard, processor, acceleration. And these things you can only change while the machine is down. So once you power the machine up, these changes can no longer take effect. You see, I cannot do anything here. I need to turn the machine off, then make these changes. But in any case, you can see that I've assigned it almost 3 gigs of RAM, and I have assigned it an extra a CPU core. Hopefully it's going to run a bit faster, and this is going to be a lot smoother experience. You can do the same if you wish, but it's not required. I'm simply doing this to save on time. It is not a pre-requirement of what we are about to do. Anyway, just go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that, minimize this, and have a look at this desktop. It's if some of you have used Mac, it's fairly similar to it. In the on the upper bar, you have Sound, Network Manager, Power Management, Date, Username, or you can put in your real name there if you wish. And on the left side over here, you have Applications and Places. So let's click on Places. Okay, capture it. Click on Places. So it can take you home, documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, pretty much similar as in Windows. You can even browse the network if you want, but doesn't really, we're not going to do that for now. Anyway, once you go into applications, for all of you Windows users out there, this is basically like the start menu. You just click on it, and then you have pretty much everything that you want here. You have the Firefox, we have the browser, which is the default one is Firefox, of course. And we're gonna see, don't open it, my good man. And never mind, let's just, while it's opening it up for the first time, it's probably going to want to do some updates or something of a kind. Speaking of which, we need to do them as well, but first, let me just introduce you. So you have the Firefox browser here, you have the mail client, basically this is for music. For photos, you have LibreOffice, which is the equivalent of Microsoft Office. You can pretty much do anything in LibreOffice that you can do in Microsoft Office as well. So no problems there. And under files, if you're wondering what this is actually a file manager. So let's just go ahead and click on it to see what comes up. Excellent. So this is our file manager, and let's just kill this red gigantic thing in the background. Close them. Most of our time we will be spending at the command line, and we will be mostly dealing with the terminal. But it's good to know, it's good to have a look at these things, and it's good to actually be at least acquainted with the graphical user interface, if nothing else, as it is a prerequisite for using it as a desktop machine, but not a prerequisite as using for servers or anything of a kind, which we eventually want to be able to manage, control, install, and so on and so forth. Anyway, this is your file browser, and you can pretty much go anywhere from here. If I go down to computer, it's going to take me to where some of the system files are. I cannot access where the system files are. I cannot access some of them. You see there's an X here on root. If I double click on it, it says the location could not be displayed. You do not have the necessary permissions to view the contents of root. This is going to be a similar case in all, pretty much the same case actually, in all Linux distributions. You will not be able to access certain parts of it or see it unless you have a root password, or unless you are using a terminal to actually view it, which is very nice, primarily because it disables 99% of viruses out there, pretty much, because they cannot do anything on your system without proper permissions. So anyway, you have the temporary files, I don't know, you have the root files, and here under var you have the log files somewhere. Just have a look at them. I'm generally not used to doing this via graphical user interface, but let's just have a look at it. So log, excellent. So you have these log files that you can later on read. Don't worry about it. We will go through them. We will read them. I will explain to you this in far greater detail. For now, I'm just introducing you to the graphical user interface, nothing else. So just go ahead and close this and go back to applications, and now you have categories of applications. So you have favorites, and these really are pretty much the most used applications in pretty much